This time on the Highland Woodworker.
But when you first start, just keep it simple, keep your day job as long as you can, and that way you don't put the pressure on the business.
Many part-time craftsmen and women dream about going full-time with their art. Learn how master woodworker Dave Puncochar turned his passion into a profession, selling reclaimed wood and hardwood lumber, designing and building furniture, and creating an entire team in the process. Plus, popular Woodworking Magazine keeps us out of a sticky situation. We'll also explore Lost Art Press's new book on tool sharpening and how these powerful no-rack vises on my bench provide a hands-free work situation. These stories and more this time on the Highland Woodworker. Hello, I'm Charles Brock and I'm a Highland Woodworker. I just love to get my fine woodworking tools and a good woodworking education at Highland Woodworking in Atlanta, Georgia. You need to go to the store, but if you can't make it into the store, you can shop them online at highlandwoodworking.com. Pick out the tools and supplies that you need for your project, have them sent straight to your door. Master woodworker Dave Puncochar became devoted to the craft of woodworking while he was in college. He found that he had a knack for matching and working with reclaimed wood to build beautiful furniture, flooring, and more. Dave invited us to his workshops, lumber store, and showroom, all under one big roof in Nashville, Tennessee. You'll hear his incredible story and get some very solid advice on building a woodworking business in our Moment with a Master.
Hey, welcome to Goodwood. How are you?
I'm great. Dave Puncochar.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's great to be here at Goodwood, Nashville.
Yes, sir. We're glad to have you here.
This is where you can really get some great wood for your project.
Absolutely.
And I see some beautiful uses of Goodwood. It's kind of everywhere here. Beautiful showroom.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, take us on a little bit of a walk here around the showroom and point out some of the work.
Well, we'd love to do that. So what we've got here is we just went to an international furniture show, so we wanted to build some special pieces. So we found this unique slab. It was a Map of Burl slab from Europe. I believe it came from France. And we decided, because as you can see, it was very jagged and that was the outside, we decided to flip it in the middle and make a river table or a resin table. And this is black epoxy, and we custom made our own base for it that kind of felt, you know, in keeping with what was going on up top here. Sort of a little bit of design, but let the top be the show stealer. So this is a beautiful table, 10-footer. These are some fun ones we've been playing with. I'll show you this one here. So I am a wood hoarder by nature. And this, believe it or not, is the top of a cherry log. And when we do go on, we have our own sawmill, and when you mill a tree, typically the sawmill will throw this part away. And I call it the topper. And I had a vision that why don't we save the topper and use it, and then we'll just adjust the legs, right? So the legs can go into the topper. This is actually, the underside's more of a piece of art. I wish I could put a mirror on the ground, and I probably should, but that's the art of it.
When you earned your chops as a woodworker, tell us about that.
I learned some basic carpentry and some basic skills first with my dad. My dad taught me how to fix up old houses and old nasty homes and clean them up and make them look good. And he taught us how ugly things can be pretty. And I think that's important to know. My mom as well. They were just hardworking people, and my mom hung wallpaper, my dad was a painter, but in their spare time they flipped houses and things like that. Then back when I grew up, we still took wood shop in junior high and sometimes high school. And then when I went to college, I tried to play football, so it was very consuming. transferred after 2 years to Tennessee Tech, and they have a partnership with the Appalachian Center for Crafts.
Absolutely.
And I was fortunate enough to take a couple semesters out there under a man named Graham, and he was just phenomenal. I believe he was from South Africa, but he was the lead instructor, and I just fell in love with it. It was so much fun to be able to go out there on Tuesdays and Thursdays and learn woodworking, and I asked if I could do the lathe. He's like, well, that's in 201. You're in 101. I was like, well, just teach me anyways. Yeah. And he did. Sure. He did. He's like, sure. And I was hungry to learn, and it just had so much fun. I just loved it. And that's where I really kind of found just a love for woodworking, and really a love for like finding what's in the wood. Is you take a gnarly piece of old nasty wood, run it through either sand it down or run it through a planer, and all of a sudden you see the grain, you're like, oh my gosh,
yeah,
so pretty.
Right.
And it's just this
that's
discovery,
what you work for, is
this treasure,
this release of this beauty that had been dormant.
We don't make it pretty. We just show the beauty that God put in the wood.
Oh,
you know, and it's just we're just reveal it, and it's just so fun. But that's kind of where I learned. And so I was fixing up an old house. That's kind of how I started Goodwood. I was looking for 100-year-old floors, but there was so much work to be done that I was trying to restore the home historically accurate as I could. So we had to ultimately find old wood to match the 100-year-old wood. And that's actually kind of what started Goodwood. Well, this is it.
Wow. So
what do you think?
Any project that I build, I want to start here.
Right?
This is looks like a great selection.
We try to keep unique pieces, stuff you can't find at the big box stores. For us, the weirder the better. We love the weird stuff. Right. We've got old barnwood that we've turned into big, huge planks that people could use for building, or box beams. We've got Pecky cypress that was pulled up from the rivers. This was put into a house that was built in 1940. I planed one of these, and look at the color of that. It's just magical. My degree was in education. My degree was to be a teacher. So I actually love teaching people about the history of the wood. So somebody might say, oh, now did you make those holes in that wood? I go, no, that's nature. That's a fungus. And ironically, the anomalies or the destructive things in nature usually make the most beauty. The damage, nature's damage is really what we find most beautiful. Right. And there's a sermon in there somewhere, but that's what's really neat. So beetle kill pine, all the beetles that killed the pine in the Rockies, that turns it kind of blue, blue stained pine, we call it. And then we have a lot of reclaimed things, like this is from tractor trailer floors. And we salvage it, and we repurpose it when tractor trailers are totaled or they're in for service, they get a new floor. This is really strong, and people use this for all types of stuff.
So this is the wear on the floor.
Yes.
And it's celebrated.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yep, this was where they ran their forklifts and their pallet jacks. Then underneath is where it hit the highway. You see a little bit of rust from where it sat on the metal joists. One of my favorite things is similar, but it's from trains. It's from boxcars. Boxcar flooring is usually made out of end grain or side grain maple because it's so hard. And we salvage it, and we sell it as lumber, and we also build with it. And it is so neat because we number it when it's pulled out of the trains, and if you put them back together in numeric order, you'll see the painted lines or the scratches go all the way across your table.
Wonderful.
So it's just so neat. And
structurally, you can't beat it.
This is the strongest stuff you could imagine.
Yeah.
It's hard maple. And what's neat about this is, I believe it was around 1980, the train cars started going to steel floors. So there is a limited amount of this out there in the country. And we work with people who salvage those train cars for scrap metal and whatnot when they're decommissioned. And the company we work with works really hard to save this for us. And we love saving it.
Is that everything?
No, I want to show you a couple special pieces
All
here.
right.
Do you remember that Mappa Burl table I showed you upstairs with the black resin?
Yeah.
I've got one more slab that matches it. I'm just waiting for somebody to commission another piece, or we also, again, we sell the lumber, so if another woodworker says, oh, I've got to have that, look at this.
Oh, wow.
Look how pretty this is. This is what it looked like originally. And then, like I said, because it was so jagged, we cut it down the middle and flipped it and made that river table. And you know, one thing I've learned is you see these little points that look like little mountaintops and pointy kind of spikes. This is always going to tell me that whatever the grain is of this wood, it's going to be really special. I don't know why certain trees grow those, but whenever it does, the wood is very special.
Well, this is quite a workshop. You call this one your...
It's kind of our heirloom level shop. Yes, sir. So this is our upstairs shop. This is our main shop with a lot of our highest level tools. You know, our largest joiner, largest planers are up here. And this is kind of where we do a lot of our, you know, final fabrication of our larger projects. You want me to show you a couple?
Sure,
Yeah.
I can't wait.
So this is a conference table being built for the company REI. They are putting a distribution center into outside of Nashville. And there were some trees that had to come down to make room for the new building. And we saved their trees for them, and we're putting them back in as furniture.
Oh,
So REI is such a green company, such a responsible company that they love this idea. And we worked with them on this root to table project. So that's been really fun. And then this is a really neat, this is interesting. It's hard to tell the beauty of it because we are filling some of the gaps and voids with black epoxy. But what you see, these different panels that you see are going back to chestnut. These have a really fun story. So Belmont University here in Nashville, they have a Belmont mansion. I believe it was built in the 1800s. And recently they're renovating it and they were redoing the portico, the roof structure over the porch. Well, when they did, they looked down, there was two old columns, Georgian architecture. I'm not sure the name of the architect, but there's two 20-foot columns, white plaster columns. And when the workers looked down in there, they saw two old trees they must have used to hold up the porch and the roof while they built it. And then they built their columns around those trees. They weren't even connected. They grabbed the trees with machines, plucked them out, pulled them out like a toothpick out of a straw. And the chief architect, David Minigan, he called me and goes, "You got to come see this. We got these trees we pulled out of the Belmont mansion." And I said, "Okay, I'll come." And he knows we have our own sawmill. We love fun projects. We saved the trees. We weren't sure what kind they were. And when we went to mill them, we found out that they were chestnut. We could not believe it, which of course, as you know, is now extinct.
Right.
So we saved the chestnut. We milled it into 1-inch thick boards, and we're gonna build them a conference table for their new building from the chestnut. We're gonna put it on a substrate. And we built them these widths so we could put them through the sanding drums, and then we'll glue everything together. We'll build a 20-foot table in a few sections, assemble it on site. And it's just such a neat story to take their wood from their 1800s Belmont mansion and put it into their modern 2023 building. That's everything state of the art.
Yeah, that's
fun?
the best of reclaiming.
It's so fun. I love it.
And celebrating.
Yeah.
Wow.
And, you know, it's just going to be one of a kind. And that's why I named it Goodwood. The whole thing is they don't make it like they used to. The wood nowadays is not made the same. It didn't grow the same. You know, you go into a big box store and you look at the 2x4s, it'll say white wood. That's not a species.
Right.
That's not a species. That doesn't even exist. So we go for the good wood. We love the good, high quality stuff. And the stuff with a story is really neat. Somebody once said, he goes, "You don't sell wood, you sell history." And I thought that was really neat. So, but yeah, this is a neat story here. And we'll be putting all these together. And these will go into that building. They're trying to move in this month. So we've got a lot of work to do.
I can see, but it's going to be beautiful. Dave, kind of sum up all of the things that come together to help a person who wants to have a journey as a woodworker, have it sustain their future. What things come together? You've had that experience.
That's a great question. I think if someone wants to have a profession in the woodworking business, I think it's important to know that you just can't do it all. It's very rare that someone can do it all and by themselves. And so when I think about how I started Goodwood, one of my friends gave me great entrepreneurial advice. The first thing he said was, don't quit your day job. Keep your day job as long as you can. And he said, and hold on to your cash. Don't go out and buy fancy trucks. Don't go out and buy fancy shirts with your name on it, because there'll be time to do all that. But when you first start, just keep it simple. Keep your day job as long as you can. And that way you don't put the pressure on the business. So when I started, I didn't have to sell a piece of wood to somebody to feed my family. And I think people can feel that if you're desperate and really need it. People can feel that, and they don't like to feel that. So it took the pressure off. It enabled Goodwood to start as a service-oriented company. And I remember that when I first started, people would want to come by the lumber store at various times. And at first I had to make it by appointment because I had a day job. And then I realized this is really inefficient. So I had a conundrum, and I had to decide, am I going to hire somebody? That's pretty scary.
It is.
And I knew that if I hired somebody to stay at the store could stay open, people could be buying lumber when I'm not there, and then I could be out meeting customers, meeting them in their homes, talking about the custom pieces that they wanted. And so I had to take a risk. And so I said to myself, I'm going to take this risk. I'm going to hire this person. And what happened with me is my finances were here, and then you hire somebody, right? Your profitability goes down. But if you're here and then it goes down, it's like a diving board, and then it springs up. And when that person starts helping the business grow, now you're at a different level. And then I'm like, wow, I really need a full-time craftsman. So you take the risk. It's scary. That's why you keep your day job and you save your cash. And then you go down, and then you realize this guy can be building the furniture while I make the sale. Or maybe you love the furniture building and you don't want to make the sale. Well, then he could be your salesperson and you could build the furniture. No one has to say who does what. But every time I took a risk, we would go down in revenue or profitability, and then ultimately we'd scale or kind of I'd multiply myself in a good way. Somebody who could help sell the wood, somebody who could help build, and that enabled the company to grow. And I kept my overhead as low as I could for as long as I could, and that's still a thing. You've seen our building, and I have 13 employees. So now we have a lot going on, and we have a lot of big projects. But when you're first starting out, I would say that would be the advice. What my entrepreneur friend said: keep your day job, save your cash, and then take baby steps and hire and take the risk, because it's always a risk. Every time you step out in faith like that, you are taking a risk. And
yeah, you do step out in faith. It's a great strategy, and thank you for sharing that with us.
You're welcome, Charles.
And thank you for this day. It has been just very uplifting.
Well, we've loved having you. We've loved having the Highland Woodworker. We're just so proud to be to meet you guys and be part of what you're doing, share what everybody else does out there, and just couldn't be more grateful for you guys to come by today.
Wonderful.
Thank you.
Highland Woodworking stocks a wide selection of Rikon power tools, known for their innovative design and rugged durability. Highland has sold thousands of Rikon's industry-leading bandsaws with sizes to fit every woodworking need, from the compact, affordable 10-inch model to competitively priced 14 and 18-inch models. Shop us also for Rikon's reliable planers, lathes, and professional low-speed grinder, all with an exceptional 5-year warranty. Rikon Power Tools.
Ralph here from Wood Academy. Now, we all know Whiteside as a router bit brand and one of my favorites, but they're also now carrying a line of saw blades.
I was working on a cutting board project and needed to rip down some hardwood.
Walnut, cherry, and maple were no problem, and the cuts were consistently clean and smooth. This is a 10-inch, 30-tooth blade with a triple chip grind and a pretty aggressive 22-degree hook on the teeth. It provides smooth, clean cutting in solid stock, thick or thin.
I'm just an average, down-to-earth woodworker. On a scale of 1 to 10, I'm probably about a 5. But one place I score a perfect 10 is right here, and I plan on keeping all 10. That's why I have a SawStop table saw. And there's more. Plenty of power, superior dust collection, and absolute accuracy. These features have made it the best-selling cabinet saw in America. Let Highland Woodworking help you put a SawStop in your shop.
Well, where do you start? All I want is a tool that will cut wood. That's all a woodworker needs. I don't need to know everything about metal and metallurgy and stones. I want one system that'll work for me. Chris Schwarz has written a little book that has everything that you could possibly need to know about sharpening. He talks about grinding, honing, and polishing. The things you need to know and the angles that you need to know so that your tool will cut. Everything that you need to know is right here in this little book. Now, there are all kinds of equipment that you see here. What kind of honing guide do I need? Do I need all of these honing guides? I don't think so. I need probably one or two and use them consistently. And Christopher Schwarz talks about that in that book. It's very readable. It has just what you need. He'll help you polish that edge so that it will cut wood very efficiently. And that's what you're after. And stones. What stones do you need? Do you need water stones? Do you need diamond stones? What do you need? Do you need water for your stones? Do you need oil? Everything that you need to know about sharpening is in Sharpen This.
When I'm gluing up a small project, like putting the lid panel in this box frame, the ordinary dispenser on the glue bottle can sometimes be just a little bit too much. However, the solution to apply a small amount of glue is right here with your glue bottle. I can unscrew the lid, drop the nozzle right down into a bench dog hole, pour a little glue right into the lid, and then apply it with just a bamboo skewer that you normally have for grilling. Now I can apply just the right amount of glue to the inside of my project and have it all taken care of. 2 low-cost, easy ways to speed up and improve your gluing, especially on small projects.
Whiteside Machine Company has been in business for over 30 years providing customers with quality router bits. Fine Woodworking Magazine has declared Whiteside router bits best overall and best value when compared against 17 other brands. No matter the router application, they have the type and profile of carbide router bit you need. When you put a Whiteside router bit to work in your shop, it is guaranteed to make you smile.
There's 4 words that Lee Tools lives by. 4 words that mean quality joinery to take your projects to the next level. Whether it's dovetails, box joints, or mortise and tenon. And we'll even help you clean up. Those 4 words: better tools, better results.
Meet the Bora Centipede, the lightweight and portable workshop table that supports up to 3,000 pounds, stores in a small space for tight shops, and opens into a work table to bring your work to a comfortable height. This makes the perfect companion for your track saw. Comes with X cups and hold downs to secure your work. Just add the Bora workbench top and you've got a great auxiliary table anywhere in your shop. Upgrade your shop today. If you can't make it to Highland Woodworking in Atlanta, Georgia, you can shop online at highlandwoodworking.com. They're great at getting what you want to your shop quick. Let Highland's legendary wood slicer resaw blade help make it easy for you to get great results sawing thick lumber into thinner boards. The wood slicer is designed to cut much faster, smoother, and quieter than ordinary bandsaw blades. You'll be amazed at how smooth a surface you'll get with a wood slicer. Its variable tooth pattern greatly reduces noise and vibration. Order a wood slicer from Highland Woodworking for your bandsaw today. With most benches, you need two things. You need a reference for flat, and you need the ability to hold work. Most times you're holding work that is maybe long and uniform, and it fits in a vise very nicely. But every once in a while, you need to put something off at the end of the vise to work on. Now, a vise that's not very good will rack. Let me show you that vise. So this is racking. When the face of the vise tilts in when you put something that is oddly shaped or something that's off to one end of the vise. And as you clamp it, you get this angle like this. Well, it also keeps it from holding the work properly. And on a good vise, I can clamp it, and we don't get that angling in, that pinching. And look at this, just as solid as it can be. So you need a vise, at least one vise on your workbench that will work for you and not rack and not pinch your wood and give you a lot of versatility. I've got a vise here that I can either install on this side or I can install it on this side, either to the right or to the left. And I can still change it around anytime that I want to. The quality is the way this is built. Not only have we got steel ways here and an Acme screw that is just really huge that will let me open it to 6 inches. And of course, I've got 23.5 inches across here. Plenty of room for any project that I would need to put in my end vise. But the real quality is underneath. And let me show you what I'm talking about there. This is steel plate. It provides a place for the steel ways to move in and out and to be guided, and that keeps it from racking, along with the massive screw here. So, when I want to place something on one end, we really don't get that toe in that you get on a vise that is just not up to this standard. So when you buy your bench, make sure it's not only that it's flat, but that the vices and the ability to hold work are versatile and that they won't rack. Strength. Joburg. Improve your woodworking experience. Sign up for Wood News Online, a monthly newsletter showcasing the latest news, tips, and classes Highland Woodworking has to offer. By signing up, you'll receive the latest episode of the Highland Woodworker,
special store promotions, and Wood News Online delivered straight to your inbox. Sign up today.
Well, that's all the time we have left for this episode of the Highland Woodworker. Be sure to follow us on all of our social media channels. And until next time, I'm Charles Brock, and I'm a Highland Woodworker.